This section has been put together for those of you at a VTS who manage MOT operations. You'll probably be in an AE role or a site manager role. Now, Brian, these roles sound important, are they?
Oh yes, they are. Yeah, different roles in the MOT computerisation system allow you to do different things. The site manager's role, by its very name, is very important to the efficient running of the station.
What sort of things do they do with the VTS device?
Well, via the device, the site manager receives messages, like reminders and alerts. If the site manager doesn't act on some of these reminders, then it may stop the station testing.
So give us a few examples of when that might happen.
Sure. Equipment calibration. As you know, a lot of the equipment needs regularly calibrating. And because you have to enter the calibration dates into the MOT computer, the system sends you reminders.
And what if you don't do that in time?
The system could stop you testing any vehicle that requires that piece of equipment, so it's very useful to check your messages and not let that happen.
Well, let's have a look at the VTS device now, shall we, and see some of these messages that you might encounter.
Yeah, it's nice and simple. A bit like checking your emails or reading a text message. Great.
Shall I have a go? If you talk me through?
Certainly. Just put the mouse on number 6, Messages, VSI and Reports. Just click that. Now go Read Message, number 1, just click that. And then we've got some messages. That's about a test equipment report that we requested. If you tick the little square box, that will keep the message. And then just click on Next Message. We can see if there's any more.
Next Message. And VTS users will be completely used to this screen, won't they?
Because the numbers are also telling you can use the keyboard as well if you wish. What they need to do, VTS users, is always to click Next Message and not just look at one and go straight back to the menu, because they don't know what others they've got.
Oh, right, so you need to keep on clicking through them.
And if you want to keep it, you click Message. That's the lot. So all we'll do is just return to menu where it says F12.
Great, well, that seemed quite easy. What should we look at next?
Well, let's have a look at reports. There's quite a few reports that you can request on this MOT system to help you run a good test station.
Like?
Well, let's try requesting VTS test log.
OK, what does that contain?
It's a bit like the old VT12 register. It lists all the tests that are carried out at the site. It's a good job to request this on a regular basis. It helps you keep an eye on the testing activity and what's going on. Like with all reports, you request it and it will be delivered with your messages overnight.
So how would I use that information?
Well, hopefully, it'll help you monitor and improve your operation. Right, let's see how to request a report.
OK.
Right, if you'd like to select Other Functions on the screen, number 7, and then Administration, and you'll see Request VTS Admin Reports at number 2. That's it. Now, what we're going to select now is Test Log Site, number 3, if you'd just like to select that.
Right.
There we go. So it wants the site number, which it's got. Date range, well, we'll just do today. That's no problem. And then we haven't got to put any dates in. So all we'll do is click the Request Report button down the bottom.
So how do I view a report?
Well, the reports are sent in a similar way to the message we looked at earlier.
Oh, right, great. I can remember that, actually.
That's it.
I'll go back...
Messages, VSI and reports. So down the bottom says View Reports. And that's where we'll find the reports to view. Sometimes the message may arrive before the report was fully downloaded. So all you would do is just try again later.
So are there any reports that show the performance of my VTS?
Yeah, there's one called a performance report. It's
well
pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Provides a summary of your performance failure rates, test times, for example, based on 100 tests. Very useful for quality control, for example. VOSA's making improvements to the report to provide much better information.
So it's basically a case of looking out in matters of testing to see when that's happening?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You can also check on the performance of your testers.
And how do you do that?
Well, you can select the personnel report. It has details of training dates as well as QC dates and results.
And is there a report which lists the testing equipment that I've got on site?
Yes, there's 2 which show this information. You can either request a garage information file, which has details about your site, including equipment, or you can select the equipment test history report. They both have calibration dates and they have the equipment ID number, which you'll need when updating equipment.
And I trust all the information you need about reports is going to be in the VTS User Guide anyway, is it?
Correct, Section Q. There are instructions on how to request and view reports, but I'd recommend just requesting a few reports and trying it on the system. I'm sure you'll find some useful information there.
So everything you need in there?
Everything you need's in there.
Great. So if I'm an AE and I'm going to go on holiday. Can I use any of this to make things run smoothly while I'm away?
Oh, you most certainly can. It's a good idea to make sure you've got enough test slots so the site can carry on testing in your absence.
So how do I find out how many test slots I have?
Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. You can check your messages. Every day you log a test, then the system sends a message to the site manager, tells you basically how many tests you've done, and it also tells you how many test slots you have left.
OK, and what's the other way?
Well, on any of the print test document screens, it has the test slot count at the bottom, as you can see there.
And can I let someone else on site order slots while I'm away?
Oh, yeah, you can, yeah, but you will need to give them a role on the MOT system first.
And what are the roles?
There's only 3 roles which can order test slots: the AEDM, the AE delegate, and the account management roles.
And which one of those do I choose?
Well, let's choose the account management role.
OK, how do I do that?
Right, if you select other functions,
Uh-huh.
and then administration, number 1,
Right.
and then people and roles, number 4.
Makes sense.
What we want to do is link user to account management, which is number 4.
Right.
Right, what we need to do is put the user ID of the person we want to give the role to.
OK,
So
which
if you'd like to type that in there,
have here.
that one there. And then your site number, the one underneath, B100 203. Now, if you select the link to account management radio button just above the user ID,
Right.
and then just update account management details. That's it, we've done it.
So is that all?
Yeah, one more thing. The person you've given the role needs to synchronise their smart card to update their roles on the system.
Right, OK. And then when I come back, can I remove the roles that I've given them?
Yep, and what you should remember to do also is to make sure you've removed anyone from the list of employees if they are no longer employed by you.
OK, so let's just talk me through how I go through removing a role.
You need to go to Update User Role screen. So you'd start at Other Functions.
Uh-huh.
You then go to Administration.
Uh-huh.
And you then go to People and Roles.
So people and roles, just like when we were giving the roles.
That's it.
So when I get there, people and roles, it gives me 2 options: Update User Roles Site and Update User Roles AE. Which should I select?
If you're a single site, then you only need to use the site option. If you're part of a large organisation with many sites, then you can use the AE option, which allows you to update roles at any of the sites belonging to your authorisation.
OK, well, I think I'm going to be a single site and choose the site option.
Yeah, sounds a good idea.
Cool.
So now we type in the user ID of the person whose role you want to remove.
Uh-huh.
That brings up the Update Role screen. The left-hand side of the screen shows any roles they currently hold. So to remove the role, you simply click on the role on the left-hand side, click Remove Role, then select Update User Roles. Job done.
Cool. OK, so now I've got the right people with the right roles. Have you got any tips on ordering test slots and documentation?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone knows how to order test slots, but you'd be amazed how many people leave it to the last minute.
And there are cut-off time for paying for slots, aren't there?
Yes, there is, yeah. 3 p.m, Monday to Friday.
What about at the weekends?
Well, at weekends, the fees collection team is closed, so you won't be able to purchase test slots using a credit or a debit card at weekends. And I should add, just as a note for people, be careful over long bank holidays.
Yeah, so the message is don't leave it till the last minute.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Spot on. Yeah.
OK, so I think there have been some sites that have had problems with their telephone lines and then haven't been able to use their VTS devices. What are the requirements regarding telephone lines?
Well, one of the most common problems is the use of broadband. When sites upgrade their telephone systems, they often include a broadband line. The VTS device will not work on a broadband digital telephone line.
OK, is there anything else I need to be aware of if I'm changing my phone system?
Yeah, make sure you don't have call waiting facility or the 1571 facility.
And what if I have a problem with my telephone line, even though I've checked all the requirements, and I can't test? What then?
Well, you can continue to test, as what we already looked at, using the fallback facility.
And who's responsible for the line?
If you pay for the telephone line, then it's your responsibility to get it fixed. If it's a line that's been provided by Siemens, then you need to ring the service desk.
OK, so far it all looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's right. We've tried to keep it simple, and for AEs and site managers, they can really monitor how well their testers and MOT tested business is performing.